to play again. So what's the plan and what are you looking for?
Looking for a response, obviously against the same opposition, which is obviously a quirk of fate. Poorest performance of the season. What you could say in other games, what we have lacked with the ball, we certainly have never lacked without the ball and competitiveness wise. But that wasn't evident on Friday night, and the outcome is you're never going to be in games of football if you don't fulfil the basics in terms of that, what we demand from them. So there's a big response needed from all of us going into this game and moving forward. You always try to attempt to win every game, but it's important that we win a game of football soon, because it's been a while since we did that. It was Crawley 4 games ago, and you know, everybody lives and dies by walking into the building on a Monday after a Saturday, or on a Wednesday or a Thursday after a Tuesday, having won a game of football, and we need to get that winning feeling back.
The game, the nature of the game means that every club takes setbacks, don't they, with the results. It's always about how you apply yourself after that sort of disappointing performance and result that came together.
Yeah, that's the nature of football. The beauty is, other than the last game of the season, you always have a chance to respond. You know, there's 46 games plus plenty of cup games, as is the case tomorrow. So when you perform poorly or lose a game of football or both, which was the case on Friday night, it's important that you respond very quickly in the game that follows, because obviously momentum's key in football, and we've got to try and arrest that momentum going, you know, on a downward spiral, and quickly turn it going the other way.
The majority of supporters are right behind you and understand how this football club functions and how it works, and obviously Friday night there was a terrific following. You didn't get the response you wanted from the fans because they were venting those frustrations. You can understand that, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We've taken big followings to Salford and Tranmere now, and obviously the game at Salford was very different in terms of how it panned out. Even though the scoreline was the same, the circumstances were different, but on both occasions they've come in numbers, and they've not been rewarded with anything tangible, for which obviously I'm more disappointed than anybody else, because you live and die by making sure that your loyal support are rewarded. And as I say, they've travelled in numbers, not just to those 2 fixtures, but other fixtures as well. We took quite a few to Bradford, we took a lot to Rochdale on the first day, where thankfully they did see a win. And yeah, the key thing with any football club, and we're no different, is making sure that our supporters are happy, rewarded, and given something to get on their edge of the seats. Whether that's not been the case and certainly Friday night, and on other occasions when they travel to away games, whilst we've been solid away from home typically in terms of gaining some draws, the entertainment value in those games needs to be higher if we're obviously going to score more goals and give them something to cheer about.
You've spoken in the last couple of games about you may have to try and get more technicians, technical players on the pitch. Do you think you've got those in the squad, and are you coming away from what you were doing earlier in the season because you were getting results earlier in the season? What do you think?
Yeah, we're going to have to. I mean, we could stay with the same style and same system as we produced in the first 10 games and keep on turning over points quite comfortably, because the players obviously have shown the capability to do that in that system, but we all know that we need to produce more than that. Football's, you know, a business where everybody wants to come to see 3 points, but they want to come to be entertained as well, and we got to find a way of sacrificing some of that to ensure that we produce better football higher up the pitch and score more goals. So that's a decision that we've all made collectively. You could go down the route, like I say, of sticking with what we've produced in the first 10 games, and that would have yielded what we know, you know, we could have got from the season. But there's risk reward in football, and we've got to take more risks in that final third to get more rewards up there for everybody's sake, really.
And the other side of it as well, never mind, you know, just the technical side of it. In football, when the results aren't going quite the way that you want them, managers lead from the front, but you want leaders out on the pitch as well. They don't want people going hiding. No,
absolutely not. There's plenty of things that we can give them throughout the week, and we can help them during the games as well, of course we can, but a lot of responsibility and accountability falls on players in the games, because they're making the decisions when the ball's at the feet or away from the ball. We can of course help them and guide them, and at half time and pre-match we can really have an influence, but in and amongst that hustle and bustle of the game, it's hard to get messages onto players, so of course you're relying on them being reliable with those decisions and the executions that they produce. So that's why it's a team effort, football. You know, we contribute in our way and they've got to contribute in their way.
Just on a couple of players, Tariq, you last week missed out through injury. I think it was a training ground injury. Where are you with him, first of all?
Tariq is going to be touch and go. He won't be available for tomorrow night, that's for sure. He's going to be touch and go for Saturday, so we're hoping that we're going to have some better news with him closer to the end of the week, because obviously he's come into full consideration to start the game against Doncaster on Saturday. He's been an ever-present up until Friday night, certainly with the league games, and that's something that we want to continue with him, because not only is he flexible in terms of the positions he can play, he's one of our better players and has shown that consistently. So, yeah, we're keen to get him back ready.
One player that's not been the best opening 3 months for is Ollie Finney. If we turn the clock back 18 months ago, or somewhere around about that time, things were going well for him. There's been a dip in form, there's been a loss of his first team place, and he's a lot of injuries. But he's back in your first team squad on Friday. It's time for him to knuckle down and go for it again, isn't it now?
Yeah, we know that, you know that, he knows that. Ollie's at the stage where he's got to produce. He's a senior player. He's not a young player anymore. He's a senior player who's had experiences in the team that are positive, certainly during that promotion year and the campaign after in League One. So he's shown during those periods the capabilities that he's got. But that was a long time ago now. Obviously last year, like for most, it was a disappointing season for him, and this season thus far has, for a multitude of reasons. Before his injury, obviously he wasn't getting the starts that he'd have wanted. We weren't obviously putting him in the team, but he has an opportunity now, like all of them, to obviously stake his claim. He's come back in the best physical shape of his life since his injury, I have to say. All the indications are from the metrics that have been measured by the medical department and the sports science department, is that he's in great shape. So he's got to utilise the fact that physically he's in good shape to his advantage and ensure that he performs on the pitch when those opportunities arise. You
mentioned at the start of the programme that it's Tranmere, ironically the last team that you play, but this is a cup tie and you need an outright win to keep alive your hopes of progressing, because at the end of the day, whatever anybody thinks about it, there's a place at Wembley for the finalists, and also it's a lucrative competition.
Yeah, 2 outright wins gets us through, I would imagine, having looked at the permutations, Graham. So that's what we'll go all out to do. Obviously, not winning at Bolton's meant that we've got to hit the ground running, certainly in this game, and ensure that there's something to play for going into the final game against Leeds. So, yeah, tomorrow night's only objective, really, alongside obviously performing well, is to ensure that we win the game so that we've got something on that final one.
And just one final point I'm pretty sure everybody's proud of, that obviously we've been waiting for the league table to come out in terms of academy setup where the football club is. We all had the tip off that you're going to hopefully be inside the top 10, and you've come out 9th in the table in front of a mighty Liverpool as well, just for one.
Yeah, incredible, and it's been a real team effort for years and years and years. People who are no longer at the club, obviously, and people who are still at the club working exceptionally hard, led by Aidan and the academy, to ensure that we produce those sort of rankings. And obviously it was all started years and years ago by Dario. If anybody deserves more credit than anyone else for what's been produced, then it has to be Dario, and everybody else has equally contributed along the way, whether it is, as I say, existing staff or staff that have long since gone. So yeah, a proud day for the club, and long may it continue.